All right, all right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evening, good evening, good evening. You're still muted.
All right. You hear me?
All right, all right. I can hear you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evening, good evening. Join us, join us, join us. This is Let's Talk About It with April. Each and every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We stream live on Facebook and YouTube. Please join us on all platforms at Let's Talk About It with April. And this evening, I have a gentleman that I couldn't wait to sit down with and have this discussion with. He does an amazing job in the community. And let me say this, like, I'm sure we all see this all the time, like, and hear it more so. We probably hear it more than we see it. People that are so for the community. Everybody has something to say about giving back. And we got to come together. We got to do this and we got to do that. And it's another thing when you see someone in action, boots on the ground, commitment, consistency, not seasonal, not when he feels like it, not when it's popular, right? This seems more of a lifestyle for you, sir. And I'm blessed and honored to be sitting here with you. And my
Thank
hat's
you.
off to you for everything you've done thus far. So do me a favor, just introduce yourself to the world for those that may or may not know you.
My name's Hassan Fountain, owner of Fountain for You Foundation. At one point, one of the largest minority-owned literacy foundations in the Commonwealth. Also own the Richmond Ram Chargers with the American Basketball Association. And also, I'm also co-owner of the Petersburg Live Wires semi-professional basketball team.
Okay, okay. Where were you born and raised?
I was actually born in Halifax County, and at an early age, right before kindergarten, moved to Richmond. I was raised
Oh,
over on the south side of Richmond. Yes, ma'am.
okay. What's the dynamics of your family? Siblings?
Um, Mother and father, two sisters,
Okay.
three of them. Yes, ma'am.
And where are you? You the middle, oldest, youngest?
The middle.
Middle? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay.
Two.
So tell us, let's talk about childhood. You're raised in
Um,
pretty much Richmond, basically, right? If you moved here
well,
at that age.
raised into Richmond until middle school, and I moved
Okay.
back to Halifax County. Moved to Halifax County.
Okay.
Well, I can't say back because I don't remember being there at the very beginning, but yeah, moved there in middle school. Basically living in Richmond at that time in the 80s. It was more like it wasn't diverse at all, 0%.
Hmm.
Where we went to school at. I went to Swansboro Elementary School, I went to Green Elementary School, and I went to Mosby Middle School. And in those particular areas, it was just like pretty much just us, pretty much
Hmm.
African Americans in general.
Okay.
But I learned life. I learned from the bottom. My mother and father, hardworking individuals. But where we lived at maybe wasn't the best place in the world. And that's what made my mother move back to Halifax County back when I was in middle school, because at that time the crack epidemic had started rolling, and there was just too much stuff going on for my mother at the time. So we went on back to Halifax, and that was a shocker because where I wasn't diverse at Richmond when we got to Halifax was totally the opposite.
Hmm.
And I mean, with everything. Yeah, so I must say, going to Halifax, it shaped who I am today.
Hmm.
Because I'm a firm believer, at the very end of the day, everything that you go up to that is pretty much like free school, free college,
Hmm.
free education. Especially if you retain what you went through and understand where you went wrong at. You come to terms with yourself within that course. And that's why right now in my life personally, can't nobody stop me. I'm rocking and
Yeah.
rolling. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. 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 So, so what I'm hearing is that I wouldn't, maybe you wouldn't call it the best of both worlds, but having the experience of those two worlds and those two dynamics kind of
Yes, ma'am.
help you evolve into the man that you are now, right?
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
so when you went, I mean, you don't remember when you were first there, but when you went back, You said it was different. So how did you adjust? Were you able to adjust well, you feel, or?
Well, I'm personal type of person. I'm good with people, so and I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. So anywhere I went, before we moved to Halifax, I was a paper boy. And I learned that very early. Try to make some money with me and my friends. Let me tell you something real quick.
No, take your time.
Where the entrepreneurial spirit come from? My father, his name Wyatt Fountain, right? It's a flea market on Jefferson Davis. It's at the I think it's Belgrade. I can't remember right now, but it's at the old drive-in movie theater.
Okay.
Right? And, way down Jefferson Davis. We used to go there back in the mid 80s. And my father would buy things like back in the days, they would have these stylish glasses called EKs. And they would have like the tassel type things with the different colored feathers. And they had like the little clip on it. You know, your hand in your car mirror or whatever. And he would buy these things for dirt cheap price. And we'd go down to Halifax, wherever the case, pretty much when we went to Halifax. And the people down there, they didn't see those things, quite often. So I learned that from the very beginning. Resale.
Right.
Everything, because I wanted things that like that my mother and father probably couldn't get me, and they tried their best to get everything that me and my sisters wanted. But we would take cans. Me and my friends, we would ride bikes, trash bags, load up on cans, go to Southside Plaza, dump our cans, get 20, 30 cent, 30, 40 cent. And it was and this is just for last right here. It was Long John Silver's on the other side of the street from Belt Boulevard. And we'd dump our cans in the machine. Each one of us get about 45 cent, 30, 40 cent, whatever. And we'll go to this Long John Silver's. And for 25 cents, you can get a little paper, like a little bowl with crumbs, with the little crumbs in it from the fish, a hush puppy, and a cup of water. Now that right there was like magic for a little 7, 8-year-old. Now I'm not talking about a 13-year-old, I'm talking about a 7, 8-year-old.
Right.
And that, because we've been on the grind for a long time now, trying to get things right. But yes, ma'am. Yep. It was. I just wanted to make you laugh for a second.
And so, in other words, Dad getting wholesale prices, and y'all go up it and make a few coins for yourself, and then you realize the importance of resale.
Pretty much, ma'am.
Did Dad know you guys were doing that?
Well, he knew he was doing it, but he didn't understand that I was paying attention. That's what he didn't understand. But he see that now because we talk about that all the time, about those older moments.
Oh, I'm sure that is hilarious. But him to be like, "Oh, you was doing it too. You caught on fast."
Yeah.
Okay. And so, where do we go from there? So you wholesaling those things. So what else has come about in life during that time?
By the time we moved back to Halifax County,
this is high school, right?
Middle school.
Middle school.
By the time we moved back to Halifax County, I started meeting a lot of friends that's good wholesome people. You know what I'm saying? Good quality friends. A lot of them my same friends to this day. All of my main friends from day one friends are from there. Because that's when I really found myself and honed in to really have real friends instead of just people being around. And yep, so got down there, and I graduated from high school. Sister graduated from high school. My sister was a rather popular girl in high school. She was a cheerleader before we left here in Richmond. When we moved to Halifax, she became the cheerleader the following year. So I started through her shadow at first, But yes, ma'am. The only thing I do regret, because of the times that was like now we're talking like the late 80s, early 90s, going into the early 90s. Drugs, right? Drugs was a big influence on small towns back in those days. You get people from the bigger towns coming down to the smaller towns. And because I had seen it just a tad bit before I left, a whole lot before I left actually, and then went down to that town, I kind of seen it play itself out before some other people down there might have seen it play itself out, right? And because I had seen it before, they hadn't seen a lot of that stuff before. And and that's the part I do regret about everything, because then when I noticed that, and then I got old enough to get into my own groove, I introduced my own self to doing stuff like that. And, and I'm not proud of it 0%, but it's a part of my life story. It's a part of who I am right now. And so Halifax to me, other than meeting good friends, good quality friends, and good quality elders, and getting into church when I first went down there, my Uncle Wim Carr, he had the family church in the same part of town where our original family come from. And so I was embedded in that. But like I always say, no matter what your parents or your elders teach you, and at the very end of the day, you also do make a decision yourself. So that side of it was 100% my decision. Wasn't getting anything to do with my upbringing, 0%. Yes, ma'am.
No, that's actually very true, and I don't think we give enough attention to that. It's almost like I get the product of your environment aspect of it, right? I get that. However, I feel like oftentimes it could be more of attention in the direction as if, oh, where was mom and where was dad? And if you had this type of person, it's like, no, we all know, especially as adults today, by the time you get 14, there ain't really nothing too much that nobody can tell you, honestly.
Yeah.
Not to even think of when you're 16 and 18. By 14, you think you figure life out.
Exactly.
And you start living life on your own terms. It doesn't matter whether you had the white picket fence, suburban schools or not. You think you know it all at 14.
Yes, ma'am.
In the most undeveloped stage of our life. Somehow we feel like we've got life figured out and mastered. And so to your point, it doesn't really, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, because it does, but you can't always look at the family and the relatives. Like there's been many people I've sat down with that have said, I come from a great family. However, I chose to make some decisions on my own that put me in a space that was the complete opposite of what I was being groomed and developed to become and evolve into. So I actually appreciate you saying that, because I don't feel like it's mentioned enough. Like I feel like the backlash is always on the family because of a decision the child makes. Yeah, I get that.
Now sometimes it does, but oftentimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it definitely does. There's many times it absolutely does. But that's my point to why I mentioned it's not discussed enough, the situations that's not the case. Because I think society automatically assumes if you're doing this, that means no dad. If you're doing this, that means single mom working 3 jobs. And that's not always the case. And that's all I'm overly explaining to make clear, is that that's not always the case. But you did mention that you regret. So what part of that you regret? Just
I regret. I love the people and the community that I moved to, right? But I do regret being just a tad bit seeing things before time. I realize I
like
seen
a step
things
ahead.
Yeah, well, the story about the cans and stuff was at 7, 8 years old. That was way beyond what my son would learn at. I mean, he's advanced for where he's at now, but as far as the grit and the grind, doing this other stuff at an early age, it was easy then for kids. You remember, when we were young, or when I was young, everybody rode bicycles. So we talking 15, 20, 25 kids when I was in Richmond, riding bikes all over the place at an early age, very early age, and parents, as we see today, they're not like parents of the day, as far as I won't let my son lead the neighborhood. But in those times, before social medias, before the craziness going on in the world, our parents was like, you know what, as long as you with your friend, go have a good time. Don't hurt nobody. In their mind, that's what they were saying.
What was the sense of community then? So you actually had people looking out that you didn't even know was looking out.
Everybody. Yeah. I lived in apartments, right? I'm talking about in Richmond. I lived in apartments, and everybody knew everybody. The parents would sit out on the front porches in the afternoons during the summer times. So even if they didn't know each other, at some point they're gonna get to know each other.
Exactly.
The kids all playing with each other. At least everybody in those sections,
Right.
And so it was a real good sense of community. Everybody trusted everybody until the drugs came around. Yeah. And then
Halifax, systematic the systematic movement, the
Yeah.
pandemic, and the war on drugs, which AKA was a war on Black and brown people. And when you introduce something that devastating to any community, the first
Yeah.
thing it's going to do is destroy the family.
Yeah.
Right? That's just, especially when it's introduced and promoted and freely given to the male. Like, what do you
Yeah.
expect to happen with the family? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very specific in that.
It was introduced in a very interesting way through a program. I'm not going to say the name of the program, but it was introduced through a program that pretty much came into school and gave it to us. Not gave it to us, but told us about it. I mean, we was looking at videos how to cook up crack. Come on now. I don't understand that part of it, but that's just the way of the world at that time.
Mm-hmm.
To make it be what it was to be in the Black community.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So I get it now, but then because they were showing us those things back then, the part I didn't get was it was illegal. They showed us like it was
legal, honest, and decent.
Yeah, they brought the case out there, flipped it open, even had us out there. I was a safety patrol. So all the safety patrols in this particular school I was at, had all the safety patrols reading from this booklet that came out of this case. And we was like self-promoting the situation.
Wow.
So it actually, it had maybe 2 years after that, that's when I realized drugs was illegal. That's how much drugs was on the streets at that time. It was like somebody walking the street smoking a cigarette. That means common. It was very, very common at that time. Yeah.
So am I understanding this correctly? Because I know you got me by a few years. So, and I'm kind of heavy in this area, this topic.
Yes,
but something you said is new for me. It sounds like you guys were groomed for it.
Well.
Hey, what did we say? Like, what is this? What's this book? What case?
It's the Reaganomics. It was Reaganomics. They was bringing it into the community. So they had, listen, when you get a job and you fill out an application out, you get hired at the job. First thing the job tells you, you might know what you're doing, but we got to train you our way. Right? And so at some point they had to tell somebody how to do something so they can make sure it works out for the better good for them.
Right.
But nevertheless, I regret just knowing I was ahead of my time for a few short seconds there, but I am grateful that I did go through all the ups and downs, trials and tribulations that it brought, because it made me who I am now.
And so help us understand what part of that made you who you are now. What type of character adjustment happened? And in what time period? Like, help me. Like, when did you begin to evolve
Okay.
into
the
beginning stages of who you are?
Yep.
Okay.
The first part first. When what makes me do what I do? Instead of hurting people and hurting people's families, mothers, aunts, brothers, sisters, cousins, grandma, granddads, whatever, now I'm into redeem myself to God. So now I do to help the children, I do to help the young adults. Now it's more of a redeem myself. Me and my wife go into it all the time. She said, you got too much of a big heart sometimes. Don't she tell me? You got too much of a big heart. It's supposed to be business, and you going into it, but I had to backtrack and get back on track. It's about just trying to help people that hey, when you don't live right sometimes and you come to terms with yourself, you got to readjust yourself and go back at it. That's all.
You should anyway.
And because now this goes back to what we was talking about earlier, because I had a mother and a father and family, uncles and aunts and stuff that was close knit. And they taught me right. Even though I made bad decisions, went through whatever I went through, when it was time for me to understand where I went wrong, was very easy for me to understand why I went wrong. Because I did know at the very end of the day, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't come from a family that said, screw it. They were those type of people, you know what I'm saying? Put it on the back burner, let them do what they want to do. It wasn't them. And so, when it comes to that, but when the question you asked, where did I understand at a point in my life? The year was 2005, 2014, 2014, 15, somewhere around there, 14. Um, my wife and I moved to a community here in Richmond. That was the house that she was raised in the Gil Park community.
Okay.
Are you from Richmond?
I'm not. I'm
from
DC, born and raised.
Oh, that's right, you is. Gil
I
Park
have a lot of Richmond guests, so people be thinking I'm from Virginia. No?
Yeah. Hey, listen, Gil Park looks similar some parts of DC, right? The older historical part. It's a historical neighborhood. Most of the houses in where I was at was built around the teens and the early 20s of the 19 during that time. And so when we moved to that community, the community I actually came from before was just a lower working class, right?
Okay.
Working class, but wasn't
lower.
Yeah, wasn't middle class. So when we moved there, it was 100% middle class to up class, right? And so I was shocked because I was seeing something. So you remember being in your different elements throughout life. Now, this is an element I hadn't been in. Being around people that didn't do wrong to get the money, but they did right, generational, whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? And so I had a man across the street, elderly guy, Mr. Barrett. Talk to him all the time, and he would give me information. Now we're talking 2 doors down. They had another family. The elder would talk to me, and I started to say, "Wow, it's, when you start to understand that you really didn't moved up just a tad, you do see it because you understand. You know what I'm saying? So when I started to do that, I told my wife, I said, I need to get my rights back, right? Because see, I still didn't have my rights back over 15 years, not 15 years, so probably about 9 years at that, 13 years at that point. So I told my wife, and she said, well, let's do that. That was one of the criteria she told me anyway before we got married that same year, same exact year. Her mother, we moved into the house when we got married. It's pretty much like a wedding gift type of situation. Raise your family where you was raised, where my wife was raised. A very nice house, and I definitely appreciate that. That changed my way of seeing everything. Had I stayed where I was at before, I would have known better, but I wouldn't have been able to visualize it, right?
Because it wasn't tangible.
Yeah, exactly. And where we was living at in Gilner Park, you take 4 miles away was Gilpin Court, the Jackson Ward community. You probably heard of that. Like right there, but it's all in the same district. So you have different classes within the same district, right?
Okay.
And I start to understand that everything is so close, but we're all in the same bread basket, right? So I said, let me get my rights back so I can run for city council. First of all, I said mayor. I ain't gonna lie to you. I said mayor. I'm gonna run for mayor. I even got stickers made. It's this guy named LeVar Stoney came on, which is the mayor who ended up becoming mayor and running for governor not long ago. But and you know what I mean, pipe it down a little bit. I really don't know as much as I thought I knew. So I ran for city council.
The reality set in.
Yeah, it really set in. I knew, city council can get, I can give them a run for their money. I knew no one other than the person across the street, the people 2 doors down, and the person directly beside me in that community, right? And they was the same people my wife knew because they was the same people staying around there since blacks was able to move in that community back in the 60s, right? So and they was there all the while, and that's why I'm saying it was good going people at that time, all the way through. So I ran for city council, got my name on the ballot, knocked on over 6,000 doors by myself. Still didn't have nobody to believe in me. Everybody saying, "This house, son, you good with people, but what are you doing?" I said, I'm trying to change lives, brother. Nobody. And as I was knocking on doors, I really became, because the people would come outdoors and talk to me. I mean, one thing I did learned at an early age. My grandfather, Ellis Fountain, D Fountain, he would always wear suits. I never seen him with jeans and nothing like that on, right? Suits,
Mm-hmm.
blazers, nice sweaters, uh, nice hats, of the time. That's all he wore. So that was in my DNA to be the same way. My father was a young, flashy dude too, right? So
Okay.
I was gonna be the same way. So
Yeah.
even though I had my little streetwear, I always knew how to get casual, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was always in me from day one. Mama dressed me like that. So getting suits and putting them on and being presentable, and was who I was regardless of the point. So
Right.
it fit right on in. Talk to the individuals. I came up with what I want to stand for the community. I want to be honest with you. I want to paint the roads gold, from the highest end of the community to the lowest end of the community.
Right.
Them all in gold, right? Help out with education. I want to be all across. Help potholes. Help this. Cut some trees down. Let's beautify this community, right?
Right.
They had a little business sector down there called what is it called? Brooklyn Park Boulevard, which was
Okay.
probably the epic center in the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s and stuff like that, right? They had their own movie theaters, like a little downtown within its own metropolitan city,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and I had dreams of all that stuff coming back to life. You know what I'm saying? So knocking on these doors helped a lot of stuff, but getting those conversations and going to those neighborhoods. But all this, do you want to ask a question? Because I want to say this. My story all runs in together how the Literacy Foundation, from the political
Mm-hmm.
side, everything runs in together. So if you want to ask a
No, keep
question,
going.
let me
As
go.
I told you before,
Yes,
that's what
ma'am.
I'm here for. I'm here to hear your story. I don't want to intervene. I don't want to throw you off and
And I,
distract. This is coming. It's coming together accordingly. I think. So yeah,
yep.
continue.
And the good part about it, but the good part about it is I never get to tell a lot of adults about my story. I tell a lot of the school age kids about the primary part of the story starting at in 2014, right? Because it's build
Oh.
character. That part of the story is to build a
Mm-hmm.
lot of characters when I'm talking kids. But anyway, I would be knocking on the doors. But one time I was sitting with a young lady named Jessie Perry. She was running for a school board, and we went to Gilton Court, knocking on doors. So she going one direction, I'm going another direction, knocking on doors. We solo, just knocking on doors, talking to people. And I seen a school bus pull up. So I'm automatically I turn around, look at kids, get off the bus, whatever, go back to knocking on doors. Then I didn't hear, I kept hearing the kids. 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, kept hearing the kids as I was walking and knocking. 10 minutes, 20 minutes
Mm-hmm.
later, the kids never went in the house, changed the clothes, put the book bags up, got a snack. I'm only saying these things because that's what my mother would do with us. When we got home from school,
Right.
we would go in the house, change the clothes, get the snack, do our homework,
Mm-hmm.
or
Then you
whatever,
come
and
back
come
out.
back outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Before
but
the
we
street
had
lights
to
go off.
handle those things first, our
Mm-hmm.
responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And so majority of them didn't even have a book bag, nor less a book in their hand. So when I went back to the house that night, I told my wife, I said, I have to get something so these kids can do something to help them out doing it after school. Provide some type of school program, provide something. That's all I need. We're going to do something. So about a week later, I came up with the idea, let's provide books for kids. This is what they really, really, really need. If they don't have books in their hands, let's put some books in their hands. Let's encourage them to read. Not only is it building character, not only is it giving them something to do, is it also helping them with their literacy skills, their reading skills, and showing them something that they've never seen before. If they've never been to South Dakota, hey, I'm going to hand you a book talking about South Dakota. You're going to learn something today, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it all started out. We not long after that, the elections was on, I think, November the 7th or something like that. A week later, I announced I was going to open my first library at Friends Association. It was like a community after school program type situation in the middle of Gilton Court. Had our own building and everything. And so I went in there, talked to the people, gave them my idea, and told them I wanted to do something for the kids, and it wasn't going to cost them a dime. They just need to provide me a room, and they provided me a wonderful size room, right?
Wow.
And, this is, I put it on
Hold on.
Facebook.
So the election, so the election is still going on.
No, the election was over at this point. The election was a week back. I lost. I actually lost.
Okay.
I lost, but it was the win. because I
Yeah.
started building my portfolio. I started building my Rolodex at that time. People start coming
But
out the
not only
woodwork.
that, it placed you right where you need to be
Yeah,
so that you can begin this literacy journey. Because had you
it
not
took
been
me
out there
off the
knocking on
court.
doors, you would not have
Yeah,
witnessed those kids with no
yes,
books.
man.
So yeah, that was
That's why I
alignment.
said the
Okay.
stories are ongoing. It's a forever ending story. It's still going on right now as we speak. And we're gonna get all that too. But
So let me ask you a few.
yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so you move into this neighborhood, which is your
Uh,
wife's old neighborhood,
yes, ma'am.
right? You personally don't know but a handful of people. You want your
Yes,
rights
ma'am.
back, you said you're gonna run.
Yes, ma'am.
So why was that the ultimate decision? Because you mentioned you wanted to get your rights back. And so how did that become in conjunction with that goal, running for
Well,
council?
that's the reason I wanted to get my rights back. I mean, my wife wanted me to get it back regardless of the point. But
Mm-hmm.
everything I do have a meaning to it for
Mm-hmm.
me. No matter what anybody else want me to do. That meaning for me getting my rights back was other not other than voting, also trying to make some lives, change some lives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
And so it sounds like you weren't just adamant and determined, but you were confident. Because again, we're not talking about the community you were raised in that you're doing this, and you're in a community where no one knows you, right?
Nobody
And you
knows me.
still had the courage to go forward with that because you were just that
That's
determined.
that's what everybody saw on down the line.
Mm-hmm.
That's in it's all in the story. It's in the story
Okay.
because no one can beat passion. You know, man, you got to put work in. If you having faith is one thing, but if
Yeah.
you don't put the work in, the faith is out the window. In
Exactly.
reality,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
Bible says that. So when we, yeah, it's a wonderful thing, man, and I definitely appreciate the good questions.
So, so you go to them. You start with your first library, right?
Hmm.
At what point between getting that library established and getting your rights back?
Well, the
Did
rights
you
came
obtain them? Go ahead.
with, no, I apologize. Go ahead, man.
No, it's okay. I'm just trying to figure out when did you obtain your rights in between with all of that going on?
I got my rights back before I had to have my rights back before I registered to run for office, before I even got the petition.
Yeah, that's what I
So
was trying to
this is
figure
like
out
a year
earlier.
and a half.
Okay, I'm not a political person at
Yeah,
all. So that's why I said why was that the ultimate decision, and that's why. So
yeah,
getting that
everything
back
came in
allowed you
stages.
to run.
Yes, ma'am. I got rights back in 2000, the end of 2000, the middle part of 2015. I ran for office the year of 2016. I didn't open
Okay.
up my first library till January the 13th of 2017.
Okay. Okay.
But it all I didn't get time to slow up and nothing like that. I kept running. There
It's kept on
wasn't no
going.
time in between. From the time I ran for office and lost in November, put out a week later that I was going to open this community children library. Came up with the name all in the whim, Found For You Foundation. Um, Still wasn't a nonprofit. Nobody knew that at the very beginning. Wasn't a
Uh-huh.
nonprofit. Um, but the name from all they knew is this young black man knocked on a whole lot of doors, and everybody know this guy from knocking on doors and burning social media up. I had a young man out following the camera at one point, and we was doing interviews with the people in the communities and things of that nature. And it wasn't just one side of the community; it was all sides of the community that I was
Okay.
in, shaking hands
Mm-hmm.
with, talking to people. Because I don't believe in just working on one side. We're gonna bring everybody together. We're gonna come up with a
Right.
solution of everybody at the very end
Mm-hmm.
of the day. So that's the buzz was that. So that little time from 2016 all the way to January 2017, it just created the buzz. Hassan
Yeah, I'm
Town
sure.
was born at that point, as far as inside
Mm-hmm.
of Richmond and doing for the people, being
Okay.
a people's
Mm-hmm.
person, doing for the people. So back to that 1 week after the elections, I put on social media I wanted to have books because I had already talked to these people about the library and the building. They gave me a room and everything else. But I put on social media, I was looking for people to give me donate books, gently used or brand new books, no ripped up books, no books with haven't written anything that nature. I don't give people books. I give kids the books because I want them to be interested into reading them. As a matter of fact, I don't give it to them. I let them pick them. You know, but we started off with 25 books of books that was my son. I have an older son. He's 29 now. Then he had just left going to the Marines back then. So went to his closet, got a couple books out of there. Think about 35 books of books that he had accumulated all through, growing up.
Correct.
And they were physically old books at the very, but it was just books he had sentiment with or whatever. And but when I put it on social media, I guarantee you at least 35 to 4,000 books came in between the beginning of December to January, the beginning of January.
Wow.
I mean, all genres of books. Then a good friend of mine, Mr. Uni, with Creative Realty, they donated the bookshelves. He said, Hassan, what you need? Because I met this young man. Can I cross another story into this story if you don't mind?
Absolutely.
All right. In 2020, not 2020, 2005 maybe, when I first came back to Richmond, I met a young man that I was trying to get some seats for a car, and he was at a business. He's a young man from Nigeria, right? Me and him the same age, our birthday on the same date, everything, right? Same year, same day. And we ended up becoming good friends, and he was 100%, he was on his game of what he was doing. He was into real estate. And he gave me an opportunity to go into houses and paint. When I didn't have a job, he gave me an opportunity to go into houses and paint the houses that they was flipping or selling, for a client or whatever. I'll go there and paint the rooms out in the house or whatever. Take trash out, do whatever I could, right? This young man who was the same age as me, I would always love. He a good, solid dude. Creative Realty, Mr. Uni. He gave me the opportunity. So when he seen me doing something, when I was running for political office, that's the first thing he said, Hassan, anything you need? Because we still kept in touch. He seen the growth. He seen the growth. 100% seen the growth because he seen me when I first came here, and I was just like trying to make it. And he donated the bookshelves, and we always use one type of bookshelf, and they come from IKEA. I picked out and I want to have everything like a system. I want the same type of stuff out of all of my 19 libraries. So we have the same type of bookshelves. And he would go to North Virginia to the IKEA store off 95 and buy the bookshelves and bring them back down here for me. I mean, I love this guy because he gave me hope when I didn't have hope back then.
That's what I was getting. That's what I got from it as you were telling me the story.
Yeah, he kept me going. Like even down to the political thing. He didn't, he wasn't a big political guy, but he never said, Hassan, you couldn't do it. He always said, what could I help you with? Even if I'm not down with the cause, what could I help you with? And so he donated the bookshelves for the first 5 libraries, I think it was. We opened that first library up, and the person I ran was was getting elected for mayor, that had been elected for mayor, LeVar Stoney. He was a guest speaker. I had guest speakers at all of my events. So he was a guest speaker.
Hold on. So these events are, what do you mean, like your grand opening or?
The grand openings.
Got you. Okay.
The news be there and everything. I think Channel 6 was at that first one. Matter of fact, when that clip that you had put up, that was from the first library.
That was the first one. Oh, okay. Wow.
That was the very first one. Yes, ma'am. Yep. So I had Jennifer McClellan, who I had previously met when I was running for office. Didn't really meet her, just pretty much, I think I known her door. And she, had a brief conversation. Didn't really know what she was until I met her down the line and she came to my event. I know all LeVar said that she was going to be, all I knew is that a young lady was coming and she was getting elected for a special election that same night. So she came to my event at 5 o'clock and she had her own thing getting elected for a political office, which was House of Delegates. I think she got elected for House of Delegates that same, as soon as she left for me, she got news that she won. And, and I took some pictures and got everybody, but we got her. And then there was a lady named Kathy Gillespie, right? Didn't know her, 0%. She called me 2 days before the library opened and said, can she come, mind coming? Because I would put my phone on the line just like I do right now, same number and everything. And she said, do you mind if I come out? I said, yeah, it's open to the public. Anybody can come. So Lo and behold, she get there. So you want to come up and get some words? Because a lot of people didn't really call me, and core people, like I said, Mr. Uni and people like that, right? So I was happy just anybody liked what I was doing. She came there that night, and it's a lot of stories I can venture off this first night. I mean, it's a lot of stories, but I end up, and this was my avenue to take everything 100% further and 100% faster. That was the mobile to do that. Her husband was running for governor. His name was Ed Gillespie. Met him the next day. She asked me to come out and meet him. I mean, she liked what I was talking about as far as the educational side of things and what I was doing. And she asked me to come out and meet him, and I came out to meet him. And I really didn't know who he was when I first met him. But then he told me he was running for governor. And we sat down. He showed me some other little things. And we had a 100% conversation. Good, solid guy, right? Good, solid guy. Friends to this day. Good, solid guy. And me and Miss Kathy, we became good friends, and we would go all over the place trying to make things happen, because she had a literacy foundation herself, which was called she had a literacy foundation herself. Not quite like mine. Hers was more or less speaking about the Constitution, education about the Constitution, which was a fantastic thing. That taught me and taught a whole lot of elementary kids something we probably didn't know at that time. But
I'm sure.
So we got a lot. We moved along.
So by this time, this is library number.
That's one. That's still one.
Oh, we're still at one. Oh,
one
I thought you said that. Okay. But this was the launch.
Library. It's hard to get.
But like you said, this is the launch. This is when you're able to launch after this one. Making all these connections. Okay.
Based on all the connections, based on I met another young man named Earl Bradley, who I call like the guru. He's an oldie gentleman, right? And he, God bless this man. He had a stroke a few years back, and he just came to one of our basketball games a couple of weeks ago, and he's full-fledged talking back on the grind again. I mean, this guy, I would tell you this, when I was running for political office, he was my mentor 100%. And even after that, he was my mentor on a different element side of things, as far as community-wise, right? He was that community guy. He is that community guy. Sorry, Earl. But yeah, he's that guy, and he taught me a lot. So that first library, grand opening, it had a lot of other people tied to it that I didn't know that particular day, but end up helping me grow. Yes, ma'am.
And that's why they were supposed to be there. So even though, because what you're saying is that these aren't people that I knew personally prior to them coming. These are people that were introduced, and you grew a connection with at your grand opening, which helped propel you to get in all these other areas. Yes, so that's all alignment. All I hear is alignment. You know, that's what the story run like that. Yeah, that's alignment right there. Okay, so let me just go back just a little bit. So,
yes, ma'am.
The idea of the libraries was solely based on you seeing those kids get off that bus with no book bags or books and not going home. It had nothing to do with the past and how you were a reader or anything like that. It was not connected. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. My mother, she worked in the school system. So she would bring all the discarded books home.
Okay, so you already knew you come from an environment where reading was second nature.
All of my family members, all the females on my mother's side of the family are teachers, pretty much. A great majority of them.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm like, it's got to be some connection and tied to it outside those kids. Yeah. But that was probably just more of the unction.
That helped me get an idea. Had I not been through that with my family, I wouldn't have been able to came up with that idea.
You wouldn't have even recognized it.
I wouldn't have recognized it at all. Think about it. How many people have great ideas, but they don't have nothing from their past to connect with it to make it work better, right? Everybody got a good idea, but unless you have some type of life experience, a family member sitting there mentoring you or whatever, that's the only time you can get that thing to roll good. Other than that, you'll be uphill running. That's why I said.
Because essentially it just becomes an idea. And when your idea goes from an idea to a vision, that's because there's something tied and connected to it that allows you to venture off. But when there's nothing tied and connected to it, it's just simply an idea.
And that's what helped Few Foundation moved a whole lot fast because we already had those elements, and then we was meeting people from the outset, from the very beginning, all the way through about that we wanted to help out. But can I say one thing about the community?
Absolutely.
Real quick.
Absolutely.
One thing I did realize when I did move to Get Park, and it opened my eyes up and see a lot of other parts of the city that was pretty decent. When we talk Black wealth, right? There is a lot of people say there is no Black wealth, but I happen to know a lot of Black wealthy people live in the city of Richmond, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of them don't reach back out and help out. Mm-hmm. And I never see them at the rallies. I never see them at the this. I never see them even doing it privately. They just rather sit back,
tucked away,
protect what they have. Don't want to be in nobody's way, so it can ultimately mess up what they got going on. But then you get the guys like myself and this. We got, like I said, Earl Bradley. We got a Dana Allen. I'm gonna tell you, there's some good people in the community here. A Dana Allen. Man, I can tell you. Kerwin Phillips, who worked good with mentor a lot of people as far as financial literacy. Okay. And this young man right here, look at here, Gene Porter. That's my guy.
Yeah.
People like that who do good in his community, right? So, but have so many things they go through, but still showing up for the day. That right there, to me, makes me work 20 times it's hard, because if I'm sitting here and I see this family with this name and I know what they can help. I mean, they might come through on the political side, something that goes over the common man's head,
exactly.
The things that they get involved in, it goes over top of their head. They really don't come down and help the people on the bottom. Mm-hmm. See, why help? I ain't, we can pass this thing across our head, but what happened to the people at the bottom, the mid to bottom? What happened to them? I was there, so I'm trying to figure out. I ain't never seen nobody come back and reach up to me and say, "Look at it, help your game plan." Mm-hmm. So and I'm quite sure.
What I personally describe, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm just feeling the urge to say this, and I don't want to miss the moment. I personally call those individuals of African descent that fits that description. That there's some self-hate going on inside of them internal, because they can try to justify it in any manner. Maybe they had a bad experience, maybe they tried years back, whatever. I just truly believe it's more of a self-hate thing going on, because you can't tell me that one that doesn't have anything is willing to give their all for the cause, but then one that has more than enough wouldn't even volunteer a helping hand or a small donation of any size. That's this is deeper. This is something deeper. And I think it has a lot to do with self-hate. I think a lot of those individuals, they sit high and they look low. And I really think they wish they were of another ethnicity. I personally, and I have a strong opinion about it, which I won't go too deep into. But for me, that's what I get from them. That's what I get from them, because I'm very familiar with those ones that look like us, came from the same place as us, right? Okay, because we're not talking about the silver spoon generation, because you got the silver spoon generation that's like that as well, and to some degree you can somewhat level with them, right? Because they to some degree don't really get it. They came up different, right? But the ones that came from the struggle, and then they get up there and they sit up there and sit high and look low, and they'll be more inclined to help out the Girl Scouts, before they help out with some books. It makes me question their character and the real level of self-love that exists within them, because it doesn't make any sense. Because to me, and I'll end by saying this, what's the excuse?
You
have the money, you have the time. What's the excuse?
Hey, listen here. Over 500 donors, right? In 7 years, 500 donors donating anywhere from 15,000 books to 2 books, right? Mm-hmm. I've seen everybody come and go. I've seen people that, some people I do get it. And when I say I do get it, they'll tell you, look, I'm here. I don't know how to help. How can I help? Now, I respect that, right?
Oh, yeah, because they're asking, how can I?
Direction, you know what I'm saying? Because they just don't know, you know what I'm saying? But When somebody know and they still don't help, and they know they got the same backstory, but 40 years prior to mine, but pretty much same story.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you get the individuals, it's a new generation coming along. I mean,
Oh
not
yeah.
even a new generation of youngsters. It's a new generation of leaders your age and my age coming along,
Mm.
of free thinkers. Not the ones you see
Mm-hmm.
all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
free
Mm-hmm.
thinkers, right? That's coming along. And in the next 5 years, it's going to be total change because um, you're going to start working together. Watch what I tell you. It's going to be a lot of change of the guards going on here soon.
I'm
And when
believing
that,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to happen. And it's going to be it's going to be a diverse change. What I mean
Mm.
is a diverse change. You have to have a diverse change to work across the board. My foundation, Found Few Foundation, nowhere in the world we couldn't have worked out if it wasn't a diverse group effort.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
fantastic group effort. Let me tell you one young lady I want to give a gold medal to as well. Uh,
Okay.
Kathy Allen. Um, and then Kathy Allen. She the wife of one of the Allen people that own Allen law firm, one of the biggest law firms up here in Richmond, right?
Okay.
Allen. Um, she herself gave over, and I give people their flowers when they do stuff like this because they don't have to. For one thing, she's a different. She's a young white lady, right?
Mm-hmm.
That have a heart of gold, that understood what it takes to work with children and make sure children have what they need, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gave over maybe about 25,000 books to my foundation.
Wow.
20 and was on the front line with me and really didn't mind. And, you know, she spoke at one of my grand openings as well. Just a good-hearted person. Would call me every other day. She would get books sporadically, and she would say, "Hassan, come over. I got 10 boxes of books for you.
Mm.
Hassan, I got 5 boxes of books for you." You know, throughout years now, and always stayed on time. Then also introduced me to different uh, private schools, bigger
Okay.
private schools
Mm-hmm.
that would downsize their libraries and give me,
Mm.
come on in, we
Wow.
got 50,000 books. They turn the whole library, turn the lights on to the whole library and say, go in there, Hassan, get whatever you want out of there.
Wow.
The sky's the limit. We don't even want to know what you took. Just get what you're going to get that you can fit in your vehicle.
Mm.
And I had a nice sized van then, and we was grabbing them books. At one time, we would have 30 to 40,000 books that I can touch any given Sunday. You call me right now and say, look, Hassan, I need such books. I need uh, 500 science, some type of science type of books, 500 type of animal type of books, nonfiction, whatever you needed, I
Yeah.
will go touch. I can have to you by tomorrow morning. Um, and that's one thing I do miss. I do miss that. Working with working with the books and working with the basketball is two totally different
Oh
things.
yeah. That's what we're gonna switch lanes to in a minute.
Yeah.
But let me
I,
ask you this. So give me the time span from the first one to the fifth one to the 10th one. Like, what was the overall time span of you being able to sprout out and grow and
in
develop so many different things?
2017, I opened the first year. I opened 7 libraries,
The first year in
and
12 months, you opened 7 libraries.
one of them was out of state. One of them was in North Carolina. Yeah, we was moving. I mean,
Wow.
it came back to being with the right people in the corner.
Alignment.
One thing Kathy Gillespie told me, she said, it ain't always about the money, right? She said, it ain't about the money. It's all about your Rolodex. You know, it's
Yes.
about the people you know,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because keep in mind, me and my wife, even though people were donating books, they might have not have donated the right type of book. Because when we did our libraries, we did them in sections, just like a real library, right?
Okay.
So me and my wife, we spent 30% of our salary still buying books out of love, right? Because remember what I said, we wasn't a nonprofit at first.
Right, you did say that.
I got the nonprofit for a particular reason, and then find out I didn't even really need it for that particular reason. For the love.
Oh,
We were
yeah.
sponsored by Shoe Carnival. We were sponsored by Holman Enterprise, which is on several McDonald's. We were sponsored by Allen Law Firm. Man, dentist offices, insurance companies, real estate companies, everybody under the sun wanted to be down with helping the kids, and they did a fantastic job in helping the kids,
I'm
right?
sure. I mean, it's just something you just don't hear about. I mean, people
Yeah.
do a lot of things you don't hear. I know that's the first time I've ever heard of it.
You know, most people
Someone
want
actually
something.
taking it upon themselves. It's almost like you leave stuff like that up to the government, right? Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
let them do that. Like it's like that's their responsibility. It's like, but nah, brother out here doing it.
And it's a need
Like
for it right
and
now.
got the right team with him to make sure that he execute each and every one
Yep.
of them.
And I'm gonna get back into that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get back. I mean, I'm getting back to that in 2 years.
So
Now,
let's go here. So
yes, ma'am.
was there any pushback throughout your process, or was it just straight alignment?
No
Was the right
pushback,
people, right?
0%. 0%. Everybody came along. Every politician in every town, every owner of a business in every town. People might hate for me to say that, but we surpassed of what everybody thought the rules would surpass. How far we was gonna go. I was the only one that stopped it. Nobody else could have stopped it. It was rolling because we was doing good. We had God's favor. We was moving forward. I wasn't disrespecting anybody. I was keeping everybody in line. I was bringing the right people to our grand openings. The news people was. I mean, everything was coming from every angle, making it good. You know, and I was the only one that stopped it. I semi got burnt out, and what I mean by burnt out, I just had too many books at some point. Especially we was giving them away. We couldn't. I mean.
Couldn't give them away fast enough.
We talking about businesses and everybody else giving books and all these individuals giving books, but you take the common person would see it on Facebook because we were saturating the Facebook market for a while. You know, and that's all people were seeing. I would post my number up there, like flashing lights. Call this number if you want to donate books, and just a random person call. Hey, I got 10 books. I mean, every single day for 7 years, people donated books. So we gave away 152,000 in people's hands. 50 to hands because we was doing free book fairs like Scholastic Books. We was going to the book fair to schools doing free book fairs because I want to take the burden off the parents, so they want to spend that $15 to $20.
Y'all do a lot of donating to different schools? Y'all doing a lot of that too?
We went to schools. We were stocking libraries. Hey, in 2017 to 2000 through 2023. If you went to any inner city library, a lot of the elementary school libraries was diminished. Went from full bustle libraries in the 80s and 90s when I was going to school down to half the shelves with books on them. Now that's not a knock to the schools or nothing like that.
No, I get it.
It's that and I don't want nobody take me wrong with that part, but I guess it was just other priorities they had to take care of. Maybe computers
on top of
technology.
Right? So
technology. But why everybody caught on so fast what we was doing, the people that were supporting me, they knew the importance of holding the book. Because they very well could have said, you know what, we're not going to help you because technology is going to take over.
Exactly.
But they said, you know what, we know these kids need books. And what's better than reading a book, opening it up, falling asleep, waking up the next morning, and continue reading where you stopped off at. You can't do that with a phone. You got to power it up. Yeah.
So you say you got burnt out. So what was it a lot going on at that time, or was you not taking enough time out for yourself? What do you think?
I wasn't taking enough time out for myself because there was other things going on during this time at the same time.
Yeah.
Not just that. At that time I was only sleeping 2 hours a day. And now I probably sleep about 2 hours a day, same time. But back then it was really 2 hours a day. I was working a 12-hour job, 12-hour shift job. But I didn't give up, and I ran with it. And nobody knew any of this stuff, but we was making it happen. Yes, ma'am.
And so how was that for you personally when you realized? It's almost like we know kind of when we're running on fumes, right? We notice with the tank empty. And so what are you thinking during that time when you realize, okay, like I'm really running dry here?
That I didn't want to give up.
Yeah.
I wasn't born a quitter. 0%. Anything I did in life, good or bad, I never was a quitter with it. So I I I don't know if I pretty much just slowed it down. Running 100
Okay.
miles an hour, I slowed it down to about 10 miles an hour.
Okay. Okay.
So we still
So let me
kept
ask you
doing
this. Let me just get this out the way, just because
uh
just based on what you're saying. Why do we equate slowing down, stopping, or pausing as quitting? Because I
God,
think we have a tendency to do that. I think we feel like just let me take 6 months off. It's almost like we equate that to quitting or giving up. When no, because any successful organization took a time out. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like they might have ran on fumes for 5, 15 years,
yeah,
but at some point, most major corporations had to take a break. They had to sit
yeah.
down. And so I'm wondering, is that a cultural thing, or do you think that most people is just run, 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 get to that point where they feel like taking a break is giving up?
It was my younger life for me not wanting to give up. I don't know nothing about the culture. I don't know nothing about
So
nothing
it's
else.
more
I just
like
didn't
a
want to give
so
up.
it's more like a burden that
Yeah.
if I'm not moving, then I'm
I
not
gave my
making
word.
that profit.
No, I must tell you, everything I do is move to God. So I gave God my word that I was what I was going to do from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never had a discussion about him slowing down. I never had a discussion about him quitting anything after that first library. After that first library, I let everything handle how it was going to handle. So I didn't think about it. I just did it. As the
Mm-hmm.
books came, we kept moving. That was the driving force. The people, the influential people in my life came, and I learned from them, and we moved together throughout life. It kept moving. It just kept evolving. So I don't know. I'm just that type person. I'm just hard to give up. Hard to
Mm-hmm.
give up. Yes,
Okay.
man.
So if it was something you would have did different early doing the
With the little,
marathon of I'm gonna call it the marathon of building these libraries, is there anything you would have
I,
done different that
yeah,
could have possibly prevented the burnout and allowed it to continue?
yes, ma'am. There's a lot of things I would have did. I would have brought somebody on with the equal drive
Mm-hmm.
that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes back to the story that to this day, and that's all still in the story though.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. So yes,
And sometimes I think we struggle with our babies, and I'm not talking about our children, our
mhm,
visions,
yeah,
because those are like our babies, right? And I think we
mhm,
struggle with how do I want to describe it? With the trade off, right? It's like
yeah,
surrendering. We struggle with it. It's like, no, I got to keep it to the chest. It's me. I got to be the one to do it. I got to be the one to sign it.
yeah,
Not knowing that, yeah, but only up until a certain point.
yeah,
And then that's when we are supposed to, because it's almost like the torch scenario,
yeah,
right? You carried the torch thus far. Now you got to find somebody to carry it on. And I think that a lot of times that be a downfall for a lot of us. I'm talking about in business. I'm sure you see it in
yeah,
business, not just nonprofits. All of those particular things that we get ourselves involved in, we're passionate because we're talking passion. We ain't talking about just doing something because it sounds good and look good and it's trendy. When we're passionate about
yeah,
things, I think we are equally guilty. I don't care if it's nonprofit, real estate, anything. We run that thing until the wheels
yeah.
fall off.
And see,
And
the
I
thing
think we
about it is,
pride ourselves on that,
yeah,
not knowing, nah, the wheels weren't supposed to come off though. We want to,
yeah, yeah,
the wheels were never supposed to come off. You're
yeah.
supposed to roll that joke, parked it, got in the back, and let somebody else drive.
Hey, you know what? Because I'm so spontaneous in my movement sometimes, that was supposed to happen like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I say that I got burnt out, it was more so we was getting a house built. I had all these books.
Mm-hmm.
I was coming from the opposite side of town. I had
Mm-hmm.
two 10 by 10 storage buildings that I couldn't even close the doors on. Um, it was just that. But the good thing about me, everything we did, we brought our children along into it. We started
Okay.
a business with my two daughters called H&M Education Station, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the H&M Education Station would sell bookmarks. They had a variety of different type of bookmarks, a selection of them, erasers, pencils, jewelry, everything, educational stuff for kids, right? To
Mm-hmm.
make them love reading. It all blended back in into reading. So outside of Foundation, my daughters Harmony and Melody started H&M Education Station. And
Okay.
my son Jamal started his own business. Jamal's World, help the homeless. Well, he every so
Okay.
often he don't like to put his stuff out there, but every so often he makes sandwiches and we would drive around and give them out. Snacks, he'd have like a
Wow.
snack bag, like a freezer bag, and put nabs in it and a ham
I love
sandwich or
it.
whatever, yeah,
I
chips or
love
whatever,
it.
and a bottle of water. So he's the next coming. He
Hmm.
he's the guy that I'm preparing right now. I
Hmm.
mean, he wanted. He
And
wanted.
that's the one you want to give the torch to, the one that won it, not the one you got to force to take it just because you next in line or you're a junior or you next
And
supposed to be next to the bat. Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
hey, listen, one of those things I said, I think you asked a question earlier about, I wish, when you said the junior, I do have a junior, right?
Okay.
That's 29, that's 29. And
Hmm.
my
That's the one
son
went to the
Jamal,
military, right?
yep, and my son
Hmm.
Jamal, he's 9, so they're 20 years apart. But I wish that I would head into him the same thing I head into him. But it goes back to the lifestyle I was living at that time. I
Hmm.
wasn't doing what I was supposed to do as a man, right?
Hmm.
So now all of this stuff that God put in place prepared me for a second coming, because I had 4
Hmm.
children before I met my wife, grown
Okay.
children. Um, I didn't have to go out and have 3 more children. I didn't have to meet a God didn't have to make it so I can find meet a female and
Hmm.
have some children, right? Marry and have children. But he did. So with that, God said, okay, we're gonna prepare you, Hassan. Yeah, we took you through all this stuff with your kids. You said you know what not to do, what not to do. So when you raise this second son, because I got 5 daughters and 2 sons, so
Okay.
he's only my second son. So raising him, he gets everything. Now, I'm not talking about on the spoil way. He
Hmm.
gets the knowledge. So
Thank you.
anybody that knows me, 99% of the time, he is right beside me. Can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Sorry about that. I had
No
a
worries.
device going off that was sitting on the counter over there.
Hmm.
But yeah, so the second coming is going to be good. This young man right here,
Hmm.
he's on his grind.
And
So
then so let me insert this. And so my husband and I, we had 5 kids total.
mhm.
And oldest is 33, 34. I think he's turning 34 in June. And the youngest is 17. And so I should have to say that what I think we as parents should be grateful for is
Mhm.
that God did prepare us and
Yep.
allow us to go through certain seasons. So when that second coming, as you put, comes around, we're more prepared for it. Because if you
Yes, ma'am.
think about it, it might be a little bit of regret. Yeah, some things might not have went the way they should have because we weren't in position. But if we really think about it, it probably was best that it didn't, because where would we have been mentally? You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Because we probably wouldn't have had the vision at that age back then. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? We
ma'am.
probably wouldn't have had the possible wherewithal. You know what I'm saying? We probably wouldn't have even had the ability to network, because your
Yeah.
network is your net worth.
Yeah.
But that's all mentality. That's all maturity. You know what
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
saying? Like, so, I get it and I hear you, and I'm not trying to justify
No, no,
anything, but
you're
I
right.
think it is a reality that needs attention put on that. That
Yeah.
we need to evolve and develop as well as parents.
Exactly.
Just because we're
Yeah. I was
grown don't
wrong
mean,
there
oh,
too.
you're 20,
Exactly. Yep.
you're 30 now. No, we
Yep.
still need to evolve and grow so that we can be a better version of ourselves for the
Yes, ma'am.
second coming of children. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel we've learned that with our youngest and 17-year-old. Like, it's a lot we had to figure out that, oh, okay, all right, that didn't work. Okay, maybe we could have did that with him, but we didn't. We can do it with him now. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of
Yeah.
always, again, not trying to not be accountable, but just being grateful that we have developed and matured enough now to be able to do that. Because that ain't have to happen. We could still be
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
same space, because age ain't nothing but a number when you really think about it.
Exactly.
I know a lot of people my age that still hasn't grown up and evolved and developed. So I just want to commend you and then humbly say, be grateful for the development now in whatever capacity that is, for you
Yes,
to
ma'am.
now be prepared to, pass the torch to that second coming. I love how you put the second coming. I think I'm gonna start using that.
Oh man.
So now, when did basketball come into play?
2023, when my family moved over here to Sandston, Virginia, um, my son wanted to play basketball at Verona community not far from here. So we signed him up for basketball, and I always said, my son played, I don't care what sport it was, I was going to be his coach. And so,
okay, that was a vow you made. Okay.
yeah, exactly. And the stars aligned once again. They said, we need a coach for the team. Here I am. So coached him. I think he was 7 at the time. Coached him, and he told me we had a pizza party. Gave kids a pizza party after the last game of the season. And on our way back home, Jamal was hyped up. Now he only scored 2 points back then.
Mm-hmm.
He was 6, 7 years old, scored 2 points, but he was hyped up just being on team sport, being in a new community, things of that nature, right? So he said, Dad, I want to own me a basketball team. I take everything for heart, my kids tell.
Oh, so it was his idea, essentially?
Yeah, 100% his idea. If he never told me, I wouldn't hear none of this.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
I got to the house. He went to sleep. I sat on that couch all night long researching leagues. I mean, not leagues, but semi-pro basketball organizations I can invest in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a particular one came up, got a telephone number, and somehow or another, I got the right person's telephone number. And next thing I was on the phone with the owner of the whole National League, right? And guy named Joe Newman. And me and him talking, and maybe 3 weeks after me sending him everything I had to send him and everything, maybe 3 or 4 weeks later, I got the paperwork saying I was the owner of this area, the territory. And we created the Richmond Ram Chargers. In the name itself, and he's actually an owner of the team too as well. He owns 10% of the team. But the name of the team came from his truck. He got a pickup truck his grandfather gave him. Gave me, but it's his truck. It's a 1978 Dodge D100. Nice, pretty pickup truck. And so the Dodge Ram, right? So the Richmond Ram Chargers.
Okay.
He made the name.
Love it.
I never told nobody that before that he came up with the name.
I love it. Wow. Okay.
So everything pretty much based on Jamal giving me the idea. And then as soon as he gave me that idea and I received that idea, I automatically started to think, how can I help people? Just like we was helping the kids the whole time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now I seen myself drifting away because I told you we got downsizing as far as the locations holding the books and all that stuff. So I said, I need to do something else different. I said, I helped the kids for 6 years. Now it's time for me to help the adult males. Somebody I can personally identify with. And so we got a good team, got some guys, we had tryouts, got the coaches together. We have a fantastic cast as far as helping me, as far as my board. We have a Miss Valerie Coley. She's Valerie Coley. If you run across her, Pastor Valerie Coley, she's one of these individuals that have a life too, went through life trials and tribulations, but has come to help people through God, right? Fantastic. She's our team minister. Then I have Chris Moore. He's our team general manager. Then I have Tamika Cousins, who's our community specialist. So now we start to bring things together so we can grow for these young men, right? And so we provide everything that these young men need.
So is it AAU?
No. It's bigger than AAU. It's semi-pro, 18 and up.
Okay.
Yeah, they're playing teams all across the United States. Well, right now, season, we actually play in Delaware on Saturday. We our first game in the playoffs playoffs Saturday. So we play in Delaware. We're doing pretty good. We're third in our district. At one point, we were 16th. Maybe I think not 16th, but 19th in the nation this year. I have 160 some teams across the United States. Yeah, so and a lot of the guys are doing very well, and they like what they do. I'm a little hard sometimes, right? Because
a little hard,
a whole lot hard, probably. And not because I'm just trying to be somebody negative and anything like that, but I want these guys to go in the right direction. And if I see them, even if they're not, if I see them slipping just one tad bit morsel, I'm jumping on. Look at here, we got to make this happen. It's about you. It ain't about me. I'm gonna lose regardless of the point because my mission is not to win. My mission to win isn't something else that got going on. But as far as my community stuff, my mission is not to win. When I mean winning, I'm not talking about winning a basketball game. I'm talking about winning in favor of whatever I do.
Right.
Because God ain't put me here to win. He put me here to be a service to Him to make things happen for the individuals. And so that's how I pretty much look at it. So I'm on those guys. We got some pretty good coaches, assistant coaches. Kenneth McCrae was a part of our team last year, our first season. This will be in our second season now. So Kenneth, he came in when I said, "Look, I want you to be a coach. I value his opinion and everything, and I trust him. So I brought him as a coach." But it was another young lady that came along that Pastor Valerie Coley introduced me to last year. She helped us with keep stats one time, I think. But I was too busy to even talk to her when she introduced me to her. So this summer, she told me, "Look, you take time to talk to this young lady. She know about basketball." So I said, "Let me give her a shot." Right off the top, I seen who she was.
Okay.
As a person who came to me not to get over, not to finagle, but a person of God, right? And she wasn't talking about nowhere close to that like that, but I could tell,
You could tell.
And she was coming to me through a good person. And so we ended up making our second team, and I'm making her part owner of that team. Just off the work and having believed in me. Because it's about people who believe in me. I only circle right now in this day, because this ain't 2000, this is not 2016, 17.
Right.
Now I only be around people who I get the vibe from, who we can work together. I can feed off you, you can feed off me. There's no more sidewinders around me.
No more pulling and tugging one-way streets, and you getting from me and draining me, and I get nothing from you. Yeah, it has to be a beneficial relationship.
And I have to know you. Either I got to know you personally through myself, or somebody who I absolutely trust got to introduce you to me. There ain't no more newcomers coming along.
So why has that become so important for you? Is it because of experience with people that you feel like you experienced being taken advantage of it at some point? Or you just know that's just important for right now?
Yeah, never hit the thing of anybody taking advantage of me, but everybody don't have the same vision that you have. So I only deal with people that have the same vision. That way I'm wasting less than my time trying to get something done.
Because y'all going in the right direction.
Yeah,
together.
Miss Sherry Horn is her name, and she's in Petersburg putting in the work as we speak, and I'm here talking to you, and I don't have to give her direction. She's and that's what I needed. Somebody
sounds like that torch.
Yeah,
somebody pass that torch to in a sense.
And she will. When all else is said and done, when I walk away from this, the torch will get passed to the person who put that work in, and I just told you her name. Yes, ma'am.
No, I got you.
For free.
Yeah, see that part. Let me ask you a few questions. So when we think about community leaders, right, and I kind of feel that I've embarked upon that even to this day as a family, not necessarily as an individual, maybe within my core circle, but nevertheless, I find community leaders, whether you're doing it on a grander scale or a smaller scale, maybe it's your circle, if it's your actual community of people, that we pour and we pour and we pour and we pour, but who pours into us?
You better hope you got a husband and a wife that's pretty decent and love you.
and so with that being said, it's like, even sometimes with that, it's such a level of pouring that we're doing. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like we can kind of exhaust them because we need so much poured into us because we're so empty. Because essentially, as a leader, you empty yourself. You empty yourself to the community. You empty yourself with the assignment. You drain yourself, and sometimes we run ourselves raggedy. You know what I'm saying? Like a community leader is a lot of weight. It's you're carrying others' burdens, right? And so it's almost like, and you said it a few times, I don't have to ask. It's like if you don't have any type of, you're not spiritually grounded, that could really work against you. No matter whether you say it's for God, of God, for the people, by the people, all that's just chance. If you're not spiritually grounded, Yeah, you can have a wife or a husband that pours into you, but like I mentioned, it's a whole nother level of pouring when you're in leadership.
Yep.
That one spouse doesn't suffice. The same thing,
No.
vice versa. We couldn't pour enough in our spouses that would suffice if they're a
It'll
leader.
drain them. It'll drain
Yeah,
them.
if they're, it's just not enough. And so,
Yeah.
a lot of us, oftentimes, we do this with passion, with grit, dedication, but no spiritual guidance, no spiritual
Mm-hmm.
solitude, no spiritual foundation. And so, we wonder why the kids are pouring, the spouse is pouring. It's not enough. And
Yeah.
so, you said it repeatedly, and I'm glad to hear that. Because I always had that concern when I wouldn't say that's one of my main concerns, but it becomes a red flag with someone that gives and gives and I'm like, okay, I hope they got some spiritual foundation because they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna need it. And you
Yeah.
said it repeatedly, you couldn't have got that far, not just with the net worth, but without God.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because you
100%.
wouldn't have called it burnt out. It would have been called something else.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
know, it would have been called something else. Yeah. So let me ask you this: do you think people underestimate the emotional weight of doing community work?
Well, yeah, they underestimated. That's why they quit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, realize, you got 10 people that starts in 2026 doing community work, right?
Okay.
Start today. By the end of the year, 4 of them gonna quit because they're not getting a response, right? Because everybody's good idea sounds good. Hey, I want to cook grilled cheese sandwiches today. Yeah, yeah. But tomorrow you're tired of eating grilled cheese sandwiches, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by the end of the year, 4 of them quit because it's just not. They didn't get the grants. They thought they was getting grants. If people looking on grants and they only solely going on grants or trying to move forward, they're probably gonna quit anyway, right? I never even got a grant. You just put that out there. It was all 100% hustle right here. Um, Never even applied for one. But then you got the second year. Somebody got a little traction. They went to one event and they feeling good, but then they realize after 2 or 3 months, ain't no more events. Don't nobody want
And
me to come over
the
and talk
traction
no
died
more.
down.
So now it is messed with the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Then 2, 3 months go by, their husband or wife. Well, you spent this money and this money to do this and blah, blah, blah. Now it's coming financially. See, because if you don't have that spouse or whoever uh, down there grounded with you far as financially. If you might be single, the person might be single, so whatever the case may be, if they don't have somebody tied in with them to keep them grounded, just a tad bit, because that's what my wife did. She keep me grounded. She's not the
Shout out to her. Mm-hmm.
she's not the soldier with the gun running around and nothing like that. But she gonna make sure, hey, when I come home, she gonna make sure she got dinner cooked, and she worked twice as hard as me. She gonna make sure she got dinner cooked. She gonna ask me, what you do today. She gonna soothe my soul. You know what I'm saying on that note. But yeah, it's a hard thing. So I truly think the average person out there doing community work, they're diamond in the rough. Just like a person running for political office. The average person can't run for
Yeah.
political office
Yeah.
because they're not going to take all the criticism. So it's one of
Yeah.
those things. When you find somebody that goes the course, either it's meant for them or you just ain't gonna stop them one way or another. And I
Yeah.
had both of them on my side. It was meant for me, and I won't gonna stop.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. So actually, I'm gonna have you. Yeah, let me ask you this first. So, what sacrifices have you made that the people are not aware of? Sometimes it's like they see you on the news, they got the
Yeah.
library, whoop de doo, yay, all the people supporting you and all that. And so it all looks good and glamour and glitter and elevation. But what major sacrifice are we not seeing that you're
I don't buy.
making?
I don't buy for myself.
Hmm.
I buy nothing for myself.
Hmm.
Um, and I can afford to buy what I want to buy if I wasn't doing a lot of other stuff, helping doing what I'm doing, right? But I don't buy for myself because I don't want to take away from myself. Because I do remember when I didn't have certain things and I couldn't make a fuss of it, right? When I buy for myself, I'm talking about like buying clothes and stuff like that.
Right.
Designer stuff. I don't desire to design stuff. I hate all this stuff in the 90s. I don't care about all that stuff. It didn't mean nothing. It meant something then, but it don't mean nothing now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the Goodwill and buy a majority of my stuff. you know. Um, and the people that I found out that donate as millionaires and this type person, when I go into Goodwill, guess what? They over there shopping too.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you keep the wealth.
Yeah, see, but it goes back to it now. We so in tune of fashion that we down the Goodwill. But
Yeah.
the people that's running your community, who's actually own the buildings and run everything in your community, they shopping at the Goodwill. But you know, so that's one that's trying to take a laugh off right quick. But
Yeah. No, because essentially the mindset is that, you know, we focus on looking rich.
Yeah,
While they
that's
being
all.
rich.
Yeah. I go buy $2. I go buy $8 shirt from Goodwill. It's gonna cost me $70 in Dillard's. Now, don't get me wrong.
Just because of the name. Just because of the name.
Just because of the name. But don't get me wrong. My wife bought me stuff. Let me give her props.
I'm sure she looks out.
But I don't buy.
That's why I asked the sacrifice you made. Yeah, I'm sure she looks out. Yeah.
I don't spend 100%. She do, but I don't spend my money. You know what I'm saying on material crap. You know, and another big thing I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of car payments, things of that nature. Now my wife, she on a different note, but that's just me again. I don't want to stretch nothing out because listen, like I told you from the very beginning, my mission was to help what I heard all those years. So while I was doing what I was doing, looking fly and flashy, and then people was looking how they was looking, I was happy then. So let's swap it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to help them. You know, so a lot of this stuff, I sacrificed being away from my family a lot too. I mean, we would at the height of the libraries, I would be out of town and getting books and driving this and setting this and talking to this and things of that nature. But my wife was cool with it. But my wife was 100% down with it because she seen
it was supportive.
What it was doing in the communities. You know, she did my paper. She was pretty much like my secretary. You know, she wasn't a front-line person. I'm a better. I get in front of people. I shake their hands, do all that type of stuff. But if it wasn't for her, I would have gave up because a lot of things that she do, I don't do. You know, so
right.
Yes, ma'am.
So I know we're embarking on 9 o'clock, so we almost done.
Take your time.
So it sounds like a lot of this work is you're still in redemption mode. Will you agree?
Yes, ma'am. I got a lot more to go. Yes, ma'am. I want to go. I want to get back into, like I said, I'm going to get back into the Foundation, going back into the schools. Because see, the 3 years that I've been away from it, and now when I mean away from it, I wasn't away from it 100%. I still go to schools. I still do book fairs at elementary school. For like the second, it was at Over B. Shepherd elementary school over on the north side of Richmond not long ago, a few weeks ago. Gave all the second graders free books. You know, I just don't do it no more where I get a whole school free books.
Gotcha.
Like that. So I want to get back into that because I really do. Once I get the basketball where I want to get it so I can put it on cruise control, I'm getting back into that. Yeah, so I'm gonna make some things happen. I want to create
I'm gonna have you finish a few sentences before we go. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If my work continues after I'm gone, I hope.
I hope it spreads further than just Richmond, Virginia, that is. Yeah, I want to be nationally, not a statue. Give me a statue.
Duly noted.
Yes.
The youth in our community deserves.
They deserve better schools. They deserve better upkept communities. They deserve better grocery options in a lot of the communities. And so they deserve a lot. And who's the person? Well, the person is us. One thing I can't say, one thing I can't say, Miss April, I hate when people say they.
They.
Yeah, they took it away from us. Who is they? Because I
They
could have
won't
bought
let
the
them have
building.
it.
You could have bought the building. You know what I'm saying? So who took it away from you? You know what I'm saying? So when you get in the mindset, when a person get in the mindset of blame, saying that let you know their self-esteem or something is already twisted because they don't even think they can own it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
You know?
not only that, they don't feel that they're just as responsible.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I'm saying? Because you
yeah.
thinking, well, if they did it and they were told it and they stopping us, you don't feel that you have no role in the
It's
situation.
0%.
Yeah.
0%. Or buying power. How you look going at it, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, whatever. So but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
But our kids deserve a lot
Yeah.
in
That's a
some of
whole
these
nother, like,
communities.
look, that's a whole nother live. Them
Well,
having
listen,
grocery supply and better schooling and.
remember this black wealth I'm talking about in these communities?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I was talking earlier. This black wealth in these communities that you don't see come out and actually do a lot, but they sit back and be political driven. Well, guess what? Why they not out here? Why they not
Right.
advocate? Not even advocate. Screw the advocating. I don't even want to do no advocating. Screw all the advocating. We need to come together. Stop asking other people for crap. We need to come together and pool our money together and get something and do something. That's all. That's all my mission is. That's what I teach my son Jamal. I teach him every single day. Invest. If you make $30, you go out here and find something that you can sell buy for $15 and
There you go.
sell it for $30. And so now you got $45. At a
There
small
you
scale,
go.
you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So not
Mm-hmm.
for a 9-year-old to get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But we gotta start putting back into helping these children. And I know you said you was a minister at one point, and that's part of the mission. And everything else. This show is 100% part of the mission to get that word out. And I'm grateful for you to have me on here. It's a wonderful
No, I
situation here.
appreciate you said something that I'm a hold on dear to. You said that there's a new generation of people coming. You're talking about this within our age bracket,
Hmm.
the free thinkers, and
Yeah,
that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that these free thinkers are going to come about and be the change we want to see. Because
yeah,
there's too many generations talking about what they're not saying, but they're not doing nothing about it. And I think that very concept that we're speaking of is going to come from those free thinkers. They're going to
yeah,
stop talking about what he did and the man said and the man and the trap and all this and that, and just be about the work and just
yeah,
be about
yeah.
the community.
Exactly. If you
It's
had
an
somebody,
expensive mission, yes,
yeah,
but many hands make light work. Like that's the part. I'm like that is the very principle we miss.
you
Many
said an
hands
expensive
make light
mission.
work. Hmm?
You said an expensive mission.
I said yes, the mission can be expensive.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
You know what I'm saying? Like it can be an expensive. I mean, it ain't nothing you can do for free. I get that. Like it's going to take some financial assistance. However, if you got all of us, as you're saying, pulling together, then it's not
Yeah,
as expensive.
yeah,
I think a lot of us don't move because we see, oh, well, this is going to cost this, and we're going to need this amount of people. And it's like, look, just start with 2 or 3. Just start with you and yours, and then connect
yeah,
with him and his. And then we got a whole community of doing what you were able to do with these libraries.
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
prime, listen, that is the prime example. Somebody here building libraries, they automatically think an expense. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Brick and mortars, like loans, like this, like how are we going to do that? They're not thinking, look, if I can just align myself with the right people, this is possible. You said no grants, no loans. You see what I'm saying? And this is like,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think that what you represent, sir, is exactly what we need to get as a people. Stop
Yes,
thinking this
ma'am.
thing is too big for us to conquer. It's not too
Exactly.
big for us to conquer. It's not too much damage been done. I hate when
No.
people talk like that. Like the
Yep.
damage is done. Like it's just no, no, no. There's been a lot of damage done, yes. But we're not all damaged goods. You understand
No.
what I'm saying? And
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
just, and it's, yes, it is a lot to do. But we could just start with just one sector, pull together. I mean, and what you did with the libraries is equivalent. That is like the roadmap to what we need as a culture and community, and diverse. I'm with that. Don't
Yes, ma'am.
misunderstand me. But just understand that it's not out of reach. It's not out of touch. It's not this huge thing that we're unable to conquer. I just I
No.
just don't believe that.
Most people see it out of reach and they can't touch because either They didn't have somebody around them talking positive, that you could do things like this. Because somebody who come from a negative background that wasn't taught that, or not even taught that, but been around people and heard those conversations, they would not do. I mean, statistically, they wouldn't do nothing like that, right?
Right.
So
Because they
they'll
don't have
shy
the
away
mind.
from it. Yeah, they'll shy away regardless of the point. And they say it, but hey, but in order to make this thing happen, we got to come together at the very end of the day. And even if we don't come together as a whole, hey, I still got to use my Rolodex to make it happen for these kids.
Yeah.
So if nobody come along and help me or whatever else, I'm still gonna make it happen. That's the difference. That's the difference. When you can look at a million pictures of me and see me do this. I hold up the number one sign, right? Number one sign says I'm number one. Ain't nobody gonna come above me but God, right? And that's how I move, regardless of the point. You can be my partner, you can be all this stuff, but that number one is God, right? And we're gonna rock and roll, we're gonna make it happen. Anybody that know me say anything that we talk about collectively, we're gonna make sure it happens. Everybody said we couldn't do a basketball team. Everybody said we couldn't do this. We started another team, right? And we're moving this thing. If it gave it head up to me, we'd have 5 more. We'll grow this thing even bigger, you know what I'm saying? And it will, because we only had our first team for 2 years. Ain't like we had it for 5 years or nothing.
Right.
So, and we're making it happen. You're gonna have to come to a game. We're gonna have a game in DC next year.
No, I already kind of got, my wheels are turning, so I plan on DMing you. It's a lot that I haven't mentioned because tonight is not about me and mine, but I definitely would love to share with you a lot that my family's involved in and things that we're doing, because we have a similar mindset. We're community driven and family oriented. And so I had a few more, but it's a little after 9. I think this was.
No, actually, I'm not in a rush.
You sure? I think this is a wholesome, a refreshing interview. I must say, and I really just got a few more finish the sentence, and I like doing finish the sentence because it kind of like demands an on the spot response. You kind of know what people's heart and minds are, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And they're very thought provoking, and I think people get a lot out of it. Okay, so the next generation must understand that.
Got to work for everything that we want. Got to work hard for everything we want. Not physically work, but work. Put the work in. Yes, ma'am. Nothing free out here.
Leadership can feel lonely when
you're the only one that believe in yourself. Because then you can your $1 million idea, whatever you want to call it, you'll give it up, and you could have flourished into helping people and building something the next day. But you don't believe in yourself, you screwed. And I find that out in people having businesses.
My mission is bigger than
myself. Yeah. 100%. It ain't never about me. I lose every day. Don't forget.
You done said that a few times this evening. Let me give you this one. The legacy I want to leave behind is.
The legacy I want to leave behind is more so on the literacy side. It's a statue in Richmond on Miami Avenue of my guy here, because I like to have books around. My guy right here. What it is? Arthur Ashe. You heard of Arthur Ashe before?
Oh yeah.
First black tennis player to go win the chip. But just one of the books I had sitting there. But anyway, what was the question again?
The legacy. You say you want to leave a legacy around literacy. The legacy I want to leave behind.
I have a statue like him. I went off course with that. I want to have a statue like he has. He has a statue. I think he's reading on my Avenue. And even if I got to build my own statue and buy my own piece of land to put the statue on my main spot, on the main road, I will be doing that before I pass away one day, unless I die unexpectedly.
Yes, ma'am. Community, he said it now.
Yeah,
I'm definitely the community. Y'all got it. All right, got to pull the resources together.
I want to make an impact. I was always
Yeah.
taught to believe when I was a kid, if they make a statue about you, you must have did something important. So I want somebody. I want to have a statue one day. That's my main goal. But I also want to have a school across the street. Not a private school, well, a private school, but not a paying private school, where kids can come in and get a good quality education, same education that they're gonna get out their private school in their H.J. Fountain preparatory school.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I got two more. The man I am today is different because
I believe in God. Yep, plain and simple. I knew who he was as a youngster, but I didn't believe in him as I do now.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a difference.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a difference. Last question. If my story can save someone else, then?
If my story can save someone else, then don't let it save one person. Let's save a generation of people. Then let's do it that way. I don't want to save one person.
If my story, yeah, let's do that. Thank you, sir. Yeah. If my story can save a generation of people, then.
Yeah. It'd be fantastic. You know what else? Let me just say this. I did 100,000 books. I said I personally gave kids probably 1,000 books we did at these free book fairs. I see a lot of children from 2017 to 23 in like Walmart, because I take pictures all the time, right? Of people who's having book fair, of having $50 bookmark contests, where we was actually making bookmarks, producing them, and selling them in honor of their school, right?
Oh, okay.
And so we was doing that every so often. We have $50 book fair contests, bookmark contests with the students. And so a lot of the students, I took pictures of stuff. Trips, I took the kids on all type of stuff. And I would see these kids now where they, probably was 5th grade, back in 17, and they out of school, and look, and hey, Mr. Fountain, you don't remember me? Then I look at them, and I think in my mind, I said, man, you went to such and such school. Yep. That warms my heart that I see people, because when they gave me these books, we talking about going into book deserts, that didn't have books. The parents wasn't the primary thing for the parents to be going to buy, was a book, right? And so those kids really did want the book. One time I was in one of the projects here in Richmond, one of the whatever you want to call them. I was in one of the areas, and I was setting my tables up, my tents. I went everywhere solo. I never took nobody with me. I went everywhere solo. Still do. And setting my tents up, giving the books. There was these two ladies sitting in the car across the sidewalk from me. And they was like, what are you doing out here? What you giving away? I said, well, I'm giving books away to the kids. These kids don't want them books. What they said, both of them, talking to me. These kids don't want no books. They don't want no books. You set them for no reason. All right, the store across the street, probably half a block away. By the time the two people walked from that car where it was parked at and went on over there to get whatever they was getting, to come back and sit in that car, took about 10 minutes. By that point, I had all the tents up, had the tables up. What this lady didn't realize is this is a community that I frequent, right? And so the kids look forward to me. She didn't know that. While she
they waiting on them books.
They waiting on the books. Yes, indeed. A lot of them will come out there and think they're going to trade in with me. I said, no, you can take them on back. Give them to somebody else. You keep them. No, I don't want them back. Keep them. This is for you. But then I said, come on over here and get more. You ain't got to trade nothing in. And you used to see those kids smiling when they got those books and stuff. See, that right there warmed my heart. That right there is God showing me, telling me right at that point. Now you see what you are capable of if you follow my direction. I'm sitting there looking at and thinking in my mind, because I'm thinking of this because I see it walking back. And I'm thinking, these ladies thinking they think they want some old floozy out here just panhandling, talking to kids. That ain't nowhere close to what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help them
Mm-hmm.
so they can listen to y'all at the very end. Two
Mm-hmm.
ladies. I want these kids to play y'all just because you down them already.
Yeah.
And I'm like that. If me, I'm gonna come back in a different type of way. You know what I'm
No, no,
saying?
that was warranted. That was warranted.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
But you don't even say
I,
you want to give them a chance.
yeah, give them a chance. These kids was loving it. I could listen. I can go back to that same day and send you 50 pictures that we took that same day, and probably gave away 300 books that day. We was doing that every weekend. That's when I said I was spending taking time away from my family sometime a little bit. We
Mm-hmm.
doing it every Saturday. I found myself where it was snowing outside. The day of Christmas, we'd go out into the neighborhood, set up the tables. Because guess what? Some of those kids ain't getting no Christmas toys. But guess what? Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Fountain, make sure you get some free books that day. And they came out there open arms ready to get some books. And the parents came out there too, talking about, let me get some books. Let me get a
Mm-hmm.
dictionary. I want to learn how to
See?
spell this. Go on, because I'll take dictionaries. I said, go on, take them dictionaries with you, pass them around. This is for the people. This ain't for me. I got
Right.
copies of everything I want at my house. I'll make sure y'all got the same thing I got. Yes, ma'am.
So the level of impact that you've made and continue to make is phenomenal. You know, it's I just for some reason I got a vision of that kid that you saw that reminded you of when he got the book, and if you remembered him, it's like there's thousands of kids like that already. And one thing about that, that is something that will stick with them for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
They'll stick with them for the rest of their life. You know, that's the difference when you're giving someone literacy in a book versus, I don't know, a pair of shoes maybe. You know, unless they desperately needed them. But you get my point. You know,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
something like that from where I sit. It's just very impactful, and most people keep their books forever. You mentioned it. You guys collected how many books from your son out of his grades?
Yeah,
So most
exactly.
people get books and they keep them. They stay in the family. My grandson, who's 2 years old, he's reading it. I'm reading him a book from his oldest uncle
Yeah,
that he had
yeah,
when he was a toddler. You know, so
yeah,
most people hold on to books forever. And so
yeah,
the impact you made is that those books are going to be in their families forever. You know, God
yeah.
forbid anything drastic happen, you know, to the household. But for the most part, those books follow people um, for a lifetime, and they remain in their homes for generations to come.
Yeah.
And so I commend you. Um, God bless you and everything you're doing. Your legacy is already etched in stone. I understand you have more to do and more to fulfill in a broader mission. Uh, but I believe that everything that you're desiring to leave legacy wise is already etched in stone.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
truly believe it is. I truly believe it is, and I already foresee me saying, "Oh my God, I interviewed him." I remember we were talking about. I'm so serious. Like I'm not saying that just to say that. I truly feel
No.
that. I have this story, right? That I want to share regarding you.
Yes, ma'am.
I simply try to memorize them. I just wasn't able to put the time into memorizing this evening, so I'll be doing a lot of looking down if that's okay. And we're gonna end on that note, okay?
Yeah, I
I
definitely
kind of want to get
appreciate
that
it.
angle where I know. I'm glad I didn't skip over this because I'm thinking, oh, we don't got no time. I got to read this. Okay, I got
Yeah,
to
keep
read it.
going.
Okay, okay. So there was a time his decisions didn't affect him; they affected people around him. Like many young men, unfortunately, make decisions that lead them down the wrong path. But somehow along the way, he realized something powerful. Something. Sometimes your purpose is born into the very place where you once caused harm. Today, Hassan is on a mission to do the opposite of what once hurt his community. Opening libraries, investing in literacy, using basketball to reach young minds before the streets do. This isn't just about success, this is about redemption. God bless you, Hassan. I hope we stay in touch. I look forward to our paths being crossed again outside of this interview. I look forward to staying abreast of other things that you and your family are involved in. And I'm here. You got a new fan. You got a new supporter over here. You got a new supporter over here. We're a giving family. We're a generous family, and we are definitely family. Uh, community within us. That's kind of something that's supposed to us. So I look forward to coming together with you guys at some point doing something. I already foresee it. But it's 9:15. Let's end. Let's end. Thank you all for your time. Before I go, I must announce. Let's talk about April is every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If anyone's looking for any investment properties, whether it's in DC, Maryland, Virginia, Georgia, or Florida, that's Davis Development Group. You can reach out to me. If there's anyone looking for any any rental properties, whether it's short term, long term, whether it's leasing, furnished or unfurnished properties, you can reach out to me. Anybody looking for any electrical service, whether it's residential, whether it's commercial, that's Sendell Systems, you can reach out to me. If you're looking for any athletic apparel, my 17-year-old son Miles has a clothing brand called Be Empowered. You can reach out to me. Those are businesses that are for us and by us. We appreciate the support. I appreciate your time, sir.
Thank
Peace.
you. Peace.
God bless you.
God bless you too.